What's going on? Welcome to another sports podcast. This week we have week 12 power rankings and games. As always, Triggered, aka Big Nate, that's me. You know what we do here? We do the power rankings where we go over teams 32 to 1 in my unique 3-segment style, which concludes with my top 10. I go ahead and get you that week 12 game slate, and we go over the top 5 games of the week. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into the basement. We'll take it from the bottom here. Team 32 is the Detroit Lions. 31, New York Jets. 30, Jacksonville Jaguars. 29, the Houston Texans. 28, the Atlanta Falcons. 27, New York Giants. 26 is Miami Dolphins. 25, the Seattle Seahawks. Carolina Panthers at 24. Chicago Bears at 23. Washington Football Team at 22. And lastly, here, the New Orleans Saints, who are at 21. Go ahead and flip it over to my article view, guys, there. My article, by the way, where you can read every team's blurb, is in the description below. Do not hesitate to go ahead and give that a click and read if you would like. I think you would enjoy it. You know, looking over the basement, some of my most loyal fans are going to notice I will be skipping a certain division that typically gets talked about here in the basement. The Seahawks will be the first team I will bring up here as they dropped 4 spots. I really thought they would push out of the basement, having now Russell Wilson back. That did not happen. They have pretty much solidified themselves as one of the bottom teams in the league now, only winning 3 of their first 10 games here. I think Seattle Seahawks should have to take a serious look at their roster this offseason and really see what they need to do to bring themselves back up to a level in which they're competing. What they got going on right now is just not going to cut it. Another team that I wanted to take a look at here were the Saints. They've dropped 8 spots. They simply just don't have a quarterback. Sean Payton can really only take them so far with what they have. Their next 2 games coming up here are very, very tough. Let's go ahead and move right on over to the Fringe. At 20, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. 19, the Denver Broncos. 18, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 17 is the Philadelphia Eagles. 16, the San Francisco 49ers. 15, the Minnesota Vikings. 14 is the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals are at 13. The Colts are at 12. And the Kansas City Chiefs are at team 11. Of course, there's a big number there, and we're going to get to that in a moment. But I want to go ahead and talk about the NFC East, as I'm going to go ahead and officially put this part of the sports podcast in the Fringe. The Cowboys, of course, being in the top 10, and the other 2 teams, Washington and New York, being in the basement. Washington at 22, I would consider them borderline a Fringe team. You know, Washington and Philly have been playing really, really improved football here over the last few weeks. I did say that it was getting lukewarm last week, and the Eagles held true to form. They went right on up to team 17 here. You've got teams like the Bears and the NFC that are kind of falling apart. It's possible that one of these teams like Washington and Philly can make a push. If you look at Philadelphia's upcoming games here, I think I wrote about it here in my blurb, yeah. They have 2 games against Washington, 1 game versus the Jets, and 2 games with the Giants. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Eagles make a little push here and see if they can't find themselves a wild card or even possibly a division chance. Another team that I want to talk about and give a little more love here this week is the Vikings, pulling up a big upset there, beating Green Bay. They typically do give Green Bay problems. Justin Jefferson went off. I mean, he is a man. And I'm sure nobody wants to play the Vikings. They are 5-5, but they do not feel like a 5-5 team. They've pretty much been in just about every single game. They play up or down to almost all of their opponents. And Kirk Cousins continues to drive them into winning field goal position time after time after time this year. It has been very impressive. Now, the Chiefs, I know a lot of people are going to say they beat the Cowboys. They didn't even crack my top 10. It was super close between them and team number 10. I do really like to parse out all my details when I rank the teams. I've ranked them by conference before I rank them over the entire league. I think it's just a way better methodology that just yields a better, more true result. And it was super close, but they sit there at team 11. Very, very strong team, the Kansas City Chiefs. I have to mention the 49ers. They have an identity. 22 passes, 42 carries. That definitely sounds like the recipe for success for the 49ers. And they're running like that. They're going to be a tough team to beat. And I really like the way they're playing football. That's their brand of football, and they should continue to stick to it. The Browns didn't move. They had a tough, gutty win again. It's very easy for the mass media to hate on Baker Mayfield. He is hurt, and he actually played the beginning of that game decently well from the tape that I watched. Now, his injury isn't helping him at all. His accuracy is not on point, but he's doing well enough to win. He's keeping them above 500. It was nice to see the Browns get back to their physical way of play. And of course, the Colts. The Colts, who broke sports podcast history here in my inaugural season. They are now the first team to move more than 8 spots up or down. They moved 10 spots up, all the way from 22 to number 12 overall. Jonathan Taylor is an absolute man, scoring 5 touchdowns against the Bills, who are not a bad team at all. And their defense came up with 4 turnovers. The Indianapolis Colts are playing some really good football. And that concludes the Fringe here. A very, very exciting Fringe. I think teams 17 through 11 are some of the most exciting football teams to watch in the NFL today. At number 10 here for my top 10 going into week 12, we have those Los Angeles Chargers. So a very young team, a very fresh team. Justin Herbert playing out of his mind, completing 30 balls for 382 yards, 3 touchdowns. He ran 9 times for 90 yards. Those runs, by the way, guys, were so pivotal. Some of them in the beginning of the game and one at the end of the game that absolutely pushed the Chargers over the Steelers. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen had an awful outing last week against the Colts, and now the inconsistencies that seemed kind of cute, they're not so cute anymore. They're second in their division. They're looking up at the first place Patriots, who they do play twice here, and the Bucks in the next 5 weeks. It will be very interesting to see how the AFC East race is going to go. Number 8, the Tennessee Titans. Man, they let the Houston Texans come over to their house, a dome team, one of the worst teams in the league, and just put a whooping on them. The Titans did not have their best game by any stretch. They turned the ball over 5 times. It just was a terrible performance. I still think they're a very solid team. A team beginning to slide, but a strong team still nonetheless. Number 7, the New England Patriots. They are now first place in the AFC East, and they are not messing with anybody. They play their brand of football, which is tough defense, running the ball, and completing passes and not turning it over. Mac Jones continues to grow. I still love the Patriots. I think they're going to be a very tough beat here toward the end of the year. Number 6, the LA Rams. So the Rams will enter week 12 coming off their bye week at a 7-3 record, second in their division to the Arizona Cardinals. I still believe in them as a very, very strong team. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. Huge showdown that they had with the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers threw for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. The unfortunate thing was that defense that everyone was talking so much hype about last week got torched against Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. So still think the Packers are a good football team, and as long as they're relatively healthy. They did recently get an injury at the left tackle position. They'll have to keep an eye on that. As the Dallas Cowboys know, whenever you don't have your left tackle, it gets a little dicier for your quarterback. Number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. So, just like I mentioned with the Packers, the Cowboys, they pretty much have a light switch that turns off their offense. It's Tyron Smith. When he's not in there, it is tough sledding. The pressure gets to Dak Prescott, and it really changes how their offense operates. I don't expect the Dallas Cowboys to have that continue, as Tyron Smith is again practicing and most likely going to be playing on Thanksgiving. I think the Dallas Cowboys are still a strong team in the NFL. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens continue to show me signs that they're one of the best coached teams in the NFL. They won a game late after substituting out Lamar Jackson for Huntley on literally game day. He was getting on the bus and he was told he's going to start. Great performance. They were down late, got the victory. Gotta love the Ravens. Number 2, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm back on the Bucs. Their defense isn't as strong as many would like. They did put a whooping on the Giants, but I really believe that with the games that they have left, Tom Brady's going to get his guys back, and they're going to start to make their push. And the number one team in the NFL heading into week 12, the Arizona Cardinals. They have reclaimed their spot. They have the most wins in the league at 9-2, and they've been doing it without Kyler Murray and without DeAndre Hopkins. So they get to enjoy their bye week here, get the entire Thanksgiving week off, and deservedly so. We'll see what they look like coming out of that bye week and pushing on to a playoff run. And those are the top 10 teams for my power rankings for week 12. Let's go ahead and jump right on over to your game slate. We'll give you the week 12 games here. Of course, week 12 being Thanksgiving week, we've got 3 games on Thanksgiving Day. The 12:30 game being Chicago Bears at Detroit Lions. The 4:30 game being the Las Vegas Raiders at Dallas Cowboys. And the nightcap being Buffalo at the New Orleans Saints. On Sunday, you got a 1 p.m. slate of Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Tampa Bay at Indianapolis, Carolina at Miami, Tennessee at New England, Philadelphia at the New York Giants, Atlanta at Jacksonville, and the New York Jets at the Houston Texans. The 4:05 game is the Chargers and Denver Broncos. We got a pair of 4:25 games. LA Rams are playing the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings are playing the San Francisco 49ers. Fun fact, that's game number 6, the bubble game of the week. 8:20 p.m. the Sunday nighter, very good one. You got the Cleveland Browns at Baltimore Ravens, and the Monday nighter, you have Seattle at Washington. 2 teams are on bye week, the Kansas City Chiefs and those Arizona Cardinals. Both of them, by the way, coming off a win and both looking very strong. Could it be possible that we see those teams play a Super Bowl this year? Let's go ahead and jump right on over to our games of the week. At number 5, the Buccaneers and Colts. I like this one. 6-3, 6-5, 2 teams that won last week, 2 teams that look like they're getting better. Very good matchup. You look at the Colts, they like to run the ball, and the Bucs very strong on defense against the run. Number 4, the Raiders and Cowboys. Thanksgiving Day, that's the main game. Storied franchise in the Raiders. What more can you say? It's going to be a good one. Enjoy some turkey while you watch that one. Number 3, the Browns and Ravens on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a great, great game. Number 2, Tennessee and the Patriots. Talk about storylines with this one. Mike Vrabel going back to his old team, his old coach, to play Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And the number 1 game of Week 12, the LA Rams and Green Bay Packers. Heavyweight fight out there in the NFC. 7-3 versus 8-3. 2 teams that are a little banged up, but very competitive. Oh, there will be plenty of playoff implications with that game. And there you have it. Those are my top 5 games of the week. Guys, I want to thank you always for watching. You guys are really the best, especially my friends and family. Guys, this week is Thanksgiving week. Please be safe. I hope you enjoy those Thanksgiving games. Let me know down below what your favorite part of Thanksgiving is. I would love to reply and let you know about mine as well. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Peace.